Mortgage rates are spiking, and with that, you may be wondering what the San Diego real estate market looks like in response. So joining us to further discuss, the owner and founder of Jim Bottrell Real Estate, Jim Bottrell. Jim, great to see you as always.
Thanks for having me.
What are you seeing in the market? Interest rates have gone up. The market is really, every time that we sit and talk, you talk about how the market's kind of slowed down.
Oh, it's definitely changed.
Yeah, how so?
Well, you mentioned interest rates. So if you look at what the Fed has done, over the last 12 months, the Fed has nearly tripled interest rates. Well, and of course, the Fed doesn't control mortgage interest rates, but they control the Fed funds rate, which will trickle down into the mortgage interest rates. And what has happened is the interest rates have spiked because they're trying to get in front of inflation, which honestly they should have done a long time ago. But the decline in market value. So we've lost about 10 to 12% of value. Beginning of the year, we went up 15%, and we've gotten about 10 or 12% of it back. That is, interesting enough, that's not a market condition. That's not a supply and demand issue. That is an artificial issue that's been created by the Fed by increasing interest rates. I mean, tripled them in 1 year, which has physically prevented buyers from getting into the market. So that's why we've seen that decline. It's not a lack of demand. There's a ton of demand out there. It's just the interest rates have gone up so much.
Okay, so somebody's sitting there going, okay, should I buy or wait? What is your suggestion? I mean, I know your answer is going to be buy, because if you wait, you're going to be renting.
Yeah, and renting is terrible. I mean, I always say, I moved out when I was 18. I rented till I was 29 when I bought my first house. I have 11 years of renting, and I learned that I would never, ever become wealthy renting, because it is a 100% loss every single month. You're investing in someone else's retirement. And if you're going to be wealthy, you need to invest in yourself. You'd agree with that, right? Yeah. Now, as far as waiting, people are waiting all the time. They're saying the prices are too high, interest rates too high. I want to wait for the prices to come down. And I just, you know, there's a lot of great opportunities out there right now, and I just don't like that. I don't think that you should be renting.
And tell us the advantages, because you always spell it out so plainly why people should buy and not wait for the market to come down.
Yeah, well, I've been on here for about 18 months now, and I've been saying that interest rates and inflation are coming, do it now. But there's 4 big reasons why I think it's really great time right now. Is one, prices have come down 12%. So you could buy that same house that you could have bought in May, you can buy it at a 12% discount. Also, I also said lenders need to lend. They're going to have to find ways. So most of my buyers right now are getting interest rates that start with a 3. So it's kind of like 2020 interest rates. So you can get the low interest rates. Third advantage is you don't have to compete. There's not the 74 offers anymore where you're competing out there saying, hey, seller, I'll pay $50,000 over ask. I'll make up the appraisal shortfall in cash. If you pick me, you can stay in the house for 6 months for free, but please just pick me. All right? And you don't have that anymore. And I think the funniest part is, for the first time in probably years, a buyer gets to choose a house they like. And that hasn't been around, because you've been getting the house that the seller picked you.
Right.
And, yeah.
Well, conversely, for sellers, there might be some unreasonable expectations if they're not following the market, because all they've been hearing for years is, man, the real estate's going up, it's going up, it's going up. So they might have some unrealistic expectations.
Yeah, well, that's a big problem right now. So there's going to be about 1 in 3 houses that are for sale right now that will not sell at all. And that is because those sellers are still sitting in the unrealistic expectations. So we have a lot of sellers out there, and myself included. It's like, nope, this is, you know, I'm going $1 million for this. And it's like, well, you know, I'm trying to tell you, it was worth $1 million in May.
Right.
All right. Started the year at 870, went up 15%, went to $1 million bucks, and now you're giving 12% back. Now it's 900. You're still up in 2022. You're still up, much less 2021, 2019, all that gain you had through there. So I tell people, it's like, you know, kind of focus on that, because as a realtor, there is no amount of marketing, there is no amount of money that can be spent marketing that will overcome an overpriced house. So you have people that are saying, nope, I will not sell unless I get my price, which was, by the way, the May price. I'm not going to do it. Well, then I got to look at what's their why. Why are you selling? A lot of times, you know, 4 out of 5 of my sellers are leaving California. They want out.
Right. But
then there's another why also. So, for example, let's take one where they want to be with their grandkids. You know, they want to be in their grandkids' lives, but they live in Tennessee. That's fantastic. So you have a house that's legitimately worth $900,000 right now, but you're saying I won't sell it for less than $1 million. I've lost too much money. You haven't. But what's it going to take for that house to come back to $1 million? When are we going to flatten out? And then we're going to start incrementally going back up. You know, you're talking years. Years. Is it okay to not see your grandchildren for years trying to get this $100,000 that's not there? By the way, there's this thing called a rising tide lifts all boats. If you're waiting for your house here to go up $100,000, guess what's happened to the house in Tennessee that you buy? It's going to go up 100 grand too. Right. So you missed 5 years of your grandkids growing up to try and get this 100 grand that you're going to give back when you buy that house. Why don't you move now? And when the 100 grand comes back, it's going to come back in the house in Tennessee too. You're fine. Don't wait.
All right, man. Makes a lot of sense. Buying, selling, either way. Okay, how do our viewers get in touch with you?
Well, you can just go ahead and give us a call or jump on our website. Easiest way is jimhasthebuyers.com.
jimhasthebuyers.com. Okay, Jim Bottrell, great catching up with you.
Thank
man.
you very much.
Appreciate the update.